Pleasant day, everyone. I am Rachel Garcia, and I'm here to discuss with you the different leadership theories. And leadership theories are schools of thoughts brought forward to explain how and why certain individuals become leaders. The theories emphasize the traits and behaviors that individuals can adopt to boost their own leadership abilities. A leader is crucial in every success of an organization. It can be equated to an orchestra. For instance, one that consists of all the best musicians in the world, but the orchestra lacks a conductor. Even though every member of the orchestra can play perfectly by themselves or individually, they will only produce an incompatible melody in the absence of a conductor. The same principle applies to communities, companies, hospitals, and a country without a leader. This will not run smoothly. The first in the list of the different um, leadership theory is developed in the mid 1800s and early 1900s, which is the great man theory. From this theory, major assumptions were formulated that leaders are developed based on Darwinistic principle. We say it's Darwinistic because the leader has an innate character or born with a particular character to become a leader. So basically, leaders are born and not made. Leaders have natural abilities of power and influence. The major criticism of this leadership theory is there is no scientific research that will back up that leadership ability is anchored on hereditary factor. And leadership was believed to exist only on few elite individuals. The second leadership theory is trait theory, which was developed in 1907 to 1947. According to this theory, a leader has superior or endowed qualities. Certain individuals possess natural ability to lead, and leaders have traits which differentiated them from the rest of the followers. Major criticisms of trait theory includes situation is not considered in this approach. So primarily it is all about the leader. And many traits are too obscure or abstract to measure or observe. Studies have not adequately linked traits with leadership effectiveness. Another is most trait studies omit leadership behaviors and followers motivate and mediating variables. The next leadership theory is the behavioral theory in 1950s to 1960s, where major assumptions are that there is one best way to lead. Leaders have high concern for people and production or consideration, and structure will be efficient. The major criticism or loophole of this theory is that situational variables and group possesses are ignored. Studies failed to identify the situation where specific types of leadership behaviors are relevant. Hence, the birth of the new theory, which is the situational theory. In 1950s, that lasts up to early 1980s. In this theory, leaders act differently depending on the situation. So this time, the situation is given consideration. Situation determines who will emerge as the leader. Different leadership behaviors are required to different situations. People can learn to become leaders through teaching and observation. So this time, it's no longer the idea of having a character of leadership as innate, rather it is now being developed. According to behaviorism, behavior can be studied in systematic and observable manner with no consideration of internal mental states. Behavioral psychology is a theory of learning based upon the idea that all behaviors are acquired through conditioning. So when you mentally condition a person that he or she will become a leader in the future, eventually that person will really become a leader in the future. Conditioning occurs through interaction with the environment. So major types of conditioning. Under the classical conditioning, it is a technique used in behavioral training in which naturally occurring stimulus is paired with response. These techniques are also useful in treatment of phobias and anxiety problems. And another one is operant conditioning, a method of learning that occurs through rewards and punishment for behavior. Through operant conditioning, association is made between behavior and consequence of that behavior. So going back to classical conditioning, so it is said that it is a technique, okay, that naturally occurring in a stimulus. So let's say, for instance, you demonstrated to that particular child what is the beauty or the advantages of becoming a leader. Eventually, that child will soon become a leader. As we may observe in many political dynasties, the children of the politicians turned out to become politicians in the future because of the stimulus that is being given by the parents to their children. Another one is the operant conditioning, wherein we give reward and punishment to a particular behavior. So if you are actually doing good, okay, in your leadership abilities or in your leadership, you get to be rewarded with your leadership abilities as well. So if you see that the parents who are in the government positions or in the leadership post um, have benefited from the leadership itself, you get to see that leadership is a good thing and that is something that you wanted to acquire in the future. The major criticism of this theory is most contingency theories are ambiguous, making it difficult to formulate specific and testable proposition. And it has a lack of measure. The next theory is the participative leadership theory, where in this theory, the ideal leadership style is the one that takes the input of others into account. So these leaders encourage participation and contributions from group of members and help group of members to feel more relevant and committed to the decision-making process. So this time it's no longer more of about the leader, but more of the follower. In participative theories, however, the leader retains the right, okay, uh, to the decision and the input of other people. The next theory is the situational theory by Blanchard and Hershey in 1950s to 19. The situational leadership style or ba't ba ganon?